The headline is chilling. IDF soldiers ordered to shoot deliberately at unarmed Gazans waiting for humanitarian aid. It seems everyone, including ordinary hungry civilians, are deemed to be targets.
The IDF is actually communicate the Gazan population by fired live ammunition.
As you saw right there, we're learning horrific new details about the IDF's recent conduct in Gaza, thanks to a damning report from Israeli newspaper Haaretz. And as the journalist was saying right there, the IDF was ordered by their leadership to communicate with totally unarmed, peaceful Palestinians by firing at them with live ammunition as a policy going forward. And these details are horrific, the numbers are terrible, but we're gonna run through all of it because not nearly enough people are paying attention to this story anymore, particularly with what's going on with Iran. But the situation there remains as horrific as anywhere in the world, and the numbers are climbing every single day. And so these aid centers that have been the site of near daily massacres are run by the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. It's been in the Gaza Strip since May. It's an organization that was set up by Israel working with US evangelicals and private security contractors. It's staffed by American and Palestinian workers and then secured by the IDF from a few hundred meters away. And since they've opened just 1 month ago, there have been 19 different shooting incidents there. And according to the Gaza Health Ministry, 549 people have already been killed in just 1 month near these aid centers, just waiting for food, the small amount of food that is allowed through when enough food exists for every single man, woman, and children there to be perfectly fine, but they don't let it in. And then when it comes in, you are risking your life every single day going to get it. Over 4,000 people have been wounded, and we don't know for sure what these numbers are. That's what it's believed. And those numbers are so insane. I mean, I was recently watching Andor, and they wanted to create a fictional scenario that would drill home how cruel and evil a regime was. And they had a smaller massacre than that. And that was enough for people to understand who the bad guy in that story was. And that number will be higher tomorrow, and it'll be higher the day after that. And if you're a Palestinian in the area, there's nothing you can do but continue to go to the place where you just might be murdered, because otherwise you and your family will likely starve to death. And so this is not just a series of accidents or miscommunications, as Haaretz reported. This is the policy. This is working as it is supposed to. According to officers and soldiers who served there, this is not just the people being murdered saying this. This is those serving in this area. The IDF fires at people who arrive before opening hours to prevent them from approaching, or again after the centers close to disperse them. Since some of the shooting incidents occurred at night ahead of the opening, it's possible that some civilians couldn't see the boundaries of the designated area. Others might have believed that worst case scenario, they would be told to leave, not shot by the military. And so a lot of miscommunications here, sort of understandably. One soldier said, "It's a killing field. Where I was stationed, between 1 and 5 people were killed every day. They're treated like a hostile force. No crowd control measures, no tear gas, just live fire with everything imaginable. Heavy machine guns, grenade launchers, mortars. Then once the center opens, the shooting stops and they know they can approach. Our form of communication is gunfire. We open fire early in the morning if someone tries to get in line from a few hundred meters away, and sometimes we just charge at them from close range. But there's no danger to the forces. I'm not aware of a single instance of return fire. There's no enemy, no weapons." This is not, where they over-exaggerated threats. Someone threw a rock, so they needed to blow up a building and kill 100 civilians or whatever. They're not even pretending that there's a threat. They just don't want to talk to the people. They don't want to communicate with them, see them as humans. So instead, you shoot them. You kill 1, 2, 4, 7 people a day, and then the others, I guess, will get the message. And so this is not like us reporting on, hey, the Guardian looked into it and 6 months ago there was a bad massacre. It could be happening as we do this show. And by the time the Young Turks goes live on Monday, it will have happened multiple times again. And they are hoping, and we'll get more into the propaganda aspect of this, they are hoping that nobody gives a damn about this story anymore and doesn't care at all about the ever-growing list of people who've been killed just desperately trying to feed their families.
Yeah, so lots of devastating facts here. First of all, when you target civilians on purpose, that has a name. It's called being a terrorist. And so what I'm sick of is the racism in American media where if it's a Muslim that does something, terrorism, instantly. And half the time they don't even check to see if it's military or civilians. By the way, did you know that out of the 1,200 killed in Israel on October 7th, about 400 were military? So it's still a despicable act. They still killed over 800 civilians, but they just lump it all in. Even if you kill Israeli military, you're not allowed to do that, you're a terrorist. But Israel can kill your civilians on purpose, and no, they're not a terrorist state, because that only applies to Muslims. So it's just a racist word. It doesn't mean anything anymore, it's trash. Unless you say, no, yes, from now on, we're calling Israel a terrorist state, because they are definitely killing civilians on purpose. And you know the daddy's unfortunately a theme here, the program they have where they wait for somebody that an AI picked to go home that they think might be connected to someone who else is connected to someone who was Hamas at some point. Again, it's AI picking, they have no idea, okay? And they wait for them to go home so that they could kill their entire family and their children along with them. So people who target children and civilians on purpose are terrorists, and that is the IDF. It's indisputable. The only reason why you would argue it is if you're racist and say, yeah, no, only Muslims get called that. Okay, so so I don't want to hear anybody being offended about, anti-Semitism. No, I get to be racist towards you, but you don't get to be accurate in your labels against me. Okay, so none of that crap. Okay, now let's talk about the wanton slaughter that Israel does in this despicable genocide. Okay, so this is straight out of the textbook genocide situation. So I've told you this before. Srebrenica was a genocide, considered a genocide by the UN and by all scholars. About 8,000 Muslims were killed, so a much lower number than here in Israel. And they targeted Muslims just like Israel's targeting Palestinians. And they did the same exact trick. And the soldiers explained later in Srebrenica, the Serb soldiers, we realized that if we starved them, it would be easier to kill them, because then when they came to get the food that we brought them, they were sitting ducks, and then we just killed their civilians that were coming out for food. That's exactly what Israel's doing here. If you think that all of this is self-defense, you're a terrible person. It's not self-defense at all. October 7th was 2 years ago. They're still claiming self-defense as they destroyed or damaged 92% of the buildings. Okay, here's another part of the story that's just a side part where they're like, by the way, they've hired American private contractors to literally destroy every home in Gaza. And they get paid $1,500 per home that they destroy. Wait, it always gets worse. They're given carte blanche. So if they see anyone near a home, including someone who owns the home, they murder them. They have a right to kill any civilian around a home that they want to demolish. And since they're getting $1,500 per home that they're demolishing, they want to hurry. So they were like, okay, go smash that one, smash that one. So wait, are you looking for Hamas? No, they're destroying all the homes. And if anyone's near the homes, they murder them. These are 100% terrorists. Okay, and then US evangelicals are part of this scheme. Think about how twisted you have to get Christianity, that you go near the birthplace of Jesus, not to feed the hungry, but to murder the hungry. No, stop calling yourselves Christians. You're not Christians at all. Tom Massey's right. Real Christians don't want genocide, are not in favor of the slaughter of 17,000 children, or don't agree with the terrorism of Israel. So, and then every step of the way, just when you think it can't get worse, it does. Israel has a version of the game red light, green light that you've seen in Squid Games, a lot of you. They're saying basically that's what they're playing with the people who are trying to get food. And so I saw last night Gaza, Journalists Under Fire by Brave New Films. You should watch that movie, bravenewfilms.org. We'll put the link down below. make sure you watch that movie. It is so powerful. Israel is clearly murdering journalists on purpose. They're clearly murdering civilians on purpose. And so in this case, what they're reporting, Haaretz is reporting, an Israeli paper, is they're saying, oh, these people are desperate. They're trying to get food for their kids. And that was in the movie. One of the guys who'd been shot trying to get food, he's like, either my kids are gonna starve or I'm gonna risk getting shot while trying to get food. So they have them stop and go, and maybe they're amused at murdering them when it was red lighting, you still went, so I murdered you. This is the current state of Israel. Deeply, deeply terrorist state. And we give money to these terrorists. Those bullets are paid for by American taxpayers. You know that sometimes at these food centers, they throw hand grenades. They throw hand grenades at civilians coming to get food. This is German level now. And I don't care at all if you're offended. If you're more offended by me calling the Israelis terrorists and Germans than you are at the civilians that they're murdering, something wrong with your moral compass. Like if you're like, 17,000 dead kids, who cares? He offended me with a word. He's not allowed to criticize us like that. Okay, then you're a terrible person. You should be spending all of your time trying to end this massacre.
I mean, Jink, you said it all. I mean, this is sick by any stretch of it. It's sick. The Biden administration is complicit as hell. They got blood on their hands. President Biden should have done something about this when he was in office, because we knew what was gonna happen when President Donald J. Trump got in office. All he's doing is continuing what the Democrats set up. So it's not just President Biden, it is that entire Congress is complicit in this genocide. But by the grace of God, there go I. And as a woman who was raised up in the Christian church, the Black liberation theology, what would Jesus do? He wouldn't do any of this. He would be with the people. So you shoot them outright, then you starve them to death, and then you shoot them when they try to get food. I mean, this is sick as hell, and everybody should be thoroughly disgusted by this. And Jink and John, something that the United Nations Secretary General just put out about 6 hours ago. He said, diplomacy and human dignity for all must prevail. What is wrong with that? I mean, I'm just trying to understand why people can't understand that. He said, as people in Gaza face injury and death, this is what he stresses. We cannot, quoting him, we cannot allow the suffering of Palestinians in Gaza to be pushed into the shadows. Amen to that. This country is complicit. We got blood on our hands because it is our weapons, our money that's aiding and abetting a freaking genocide. And I know we talk about how many children that are killed because that is devastating, and we're hoping that when people hear the word children are being killed, that they'll have a little more compassion and mercy. But that doesn't seem to work because it's Palestinians. So as far as I'm concerned, Jink and John, all of the innocent civilians that are being killed, whether they're children, men, women, family, and friends, all of the people in that region are suffering. Either they're being shot straight up, or they're being starved to death. And let's think about the water, not getting enough water, the types of diseases that are bubbling up because of all those buildings that have been destroyed, the environmental damage that will take decades upon decades to remediate. This is a sickness. We are violating American law. We're violating the 620I. That is very clear that when a president of the United States, the Foreign Assistance Act, that is very clear that when the president of the United States of America has been informed that a country that we are giving weapons to is not allowing aid to come into the place for the civilians. That president is supposed to stop this. So damn it, that goes for Biden, who failed, and definitely President Donald J. Trump is failing now. He ran and said he was gonna do this thing differently. Not just in Gaza, he said he wasn't gonna be a war president.
Yeah.
It's sick, this is sick. This is sick.
And now he's asking for a Nobel Peace Prize. If only there were a terrible conflict that you could do literally anything to help stop. Yeah.
And doesn't a war require equal sides to have equal power? This is a war on Gaza. Because they don't have equal forces. They don't have European nations on their side that'll weapon them up. This is a war on the Palestinians in Gaza. It is not it's not a war, it's a war on.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.